What would be different if COVID had never happened? I probably wouldn't be aware of just how selfish some people in my extended social circle are, or rather were. They're not dead, we just don't hang out that much anymore. It was surprising to see how some people you thought were nice people weren't willing to take any precautions whatsoever if they were of any slight inconvenience to themselves. It completely blew the cover of every narcissist within my social circles and shone a spotlight on who specifically you couldn't rely on to do the ethically right thing if it contrasted with what they wanted to do. I wouldn't have known just how many of my friends, neighbors, family are horribly, unabashedly selfish. Same for which are surprisingly susceptible to believing ridiculous conspiracy theories, at the risk of their own lives' health, as well as my own. On the plus side, I also wouldn't have learned which of my friends, neighbors, family are most compassionate, empathetic. I learned who cared the most about others, who was actually willing to love their neighbors. No rampant inflation maybe. Companies love to use the excuse of the general population getting free money for said inflation, when 90 of that money went straight to businesses via PPP. Now workers are unhappy, so their response is more inflation to keep them in line. You'd be able to hit up Starbucks at midnight, do a Walmart run at 1 AM, and start the next day at noon with a sausage McMuffin and a hash brown that would take at least 10 minutes for them to make, and not feel like you were signing over your firstborn for any of it. My relationship might never have happened. She was a friend in another part of the country before the pandemic started and everything social moved online. I probably wouldn't have to put up with the pain in the ass that is working from home. Trump would be on his second term because they wouldn't have had the mass mail-in voting scams. With Trump in office, there would have been no Russian-Ukraine invasion. From there, who knows what else might be better? Probably lots of stuff. We wouldn't be struggling to get medications, the supply chain issues wouldn't have happened, and car dealers would actually have inventory as opposed to stocking a few cars and expecting customer to pay a huge markup. Possibly less homeless folks. Many people lost their jobs due to COVID. With no money coming in, they couldn't pay rent. They were okay for a while until COVID relief funds ran out. Many remain homeless today sadly. Wow, inmate no. P01135809 probably would have been re-elected, the economy would have been decimated, Russia would occupy Ukraine, and possibly Finland, the climate would still be even more out of control. I probably would be a lot more active than I am, and still taking my trips around the city stitching various library locations together. McDonald's would probably still have all-day breakfast. Donnie would be president again. Did not vote for him, think he is a big boss. He blew it during the pandemic, all he had to do was be reassuring and let the medical people speak, but no. My wife and I would be living in Amsterdam right now had COVID not happened. We were 1 week away from moving to Amsterdam from Las Vegas when flights started getting cancelled. For me, I'd still be living on the West Coast. Be in an international manager position making $100K a year. Instead, I'm pretty much the Midwest on my 4th job since COVID. I'd be homeless. COVID unemployment allowed me to afford down payment, first month's rent, and movers when we suddenly got told landlords were selling in May 2020. Westerners wearing masks in public would still be seen as weird. In a lot of Asian countries, it is considered common courtesy to not pass on your germs when sick. Election denial in the US probably would still exist, but holy cow, every hardcore MAGA points into the mail-in ballots that were on the rise due to COVID. Remote work wouldn't be such a big thing, and there wouldn't currently be a battle over offices. Contactless delivery probably wouldn't be a thing either. I don't think housing and rent prices would have skyrocketed as fast. They were going up already, but man, did that get a lot worse during the pandemic. Smiley face. No gig economy jobs. They were seen as fringe work. We thought it was crazy to pay someone to do your grocery shopping and having McDonald's delivered. I wouldn't have a cardiologist and a pulmonologist in my late 30s. I'd be able to carry groceries without having to sit down and rest halfway. I wouldn't have had to move my parents in with me so we can all split my mortgage and I can have people mock me for living with my parents. True, no one likes hearing that all the spending we did on COVID and stimulus checks was responsible for the inflation we have now. I would have already moved out. The pandemic happened at a bad time for me when I was about to move. Now I've been set back a bit. The ultra-wealthy would have found another way to socially manufacture the largest transfer of wealth in modern history. I wouldn't be off work right now with a spicy sore throat, a banging headache, and feeling like I've been hit by a bus. You would have found out much earlier that Brexit was a complete failure, especially in the way it was executed. Food would probably be cheaper, housing prices wouldn't have exploded, Many stocks wouldn't have hit ATHs, etc. Restaurants would continue using physical menus and not those goddamn QRS that sometimes does not even work. A lot of people's mental health would be better and remote jobs, home office would be a lot less common. Trump might have actually had a chance to be re-elected. I doubt the MAGAs would have been as worked up. I wouldn't be as lonely and depressed. Lockdown fucked my mental health and I still haven't recovered. Remote work wouldn't be nearly as advanced as it is now, nor would people even care about it as much. Mental health wouldn't be an all-time low. Housing and grocery prices wouldn't be as out of control. Movies where people hide their zombie bites would still be seen as unrealistic. Lazy writing. Nothing wouldn't be different, it would be the same, but people wouldn't gain weight at all. DoorDash and similar services wouldn't be nearly as popular. Along with grocery delivery, the minimum wage increase in the States and the crazy job market might not have happened. Lines at the drive-thru windows would not be wrapping around the parking lot as much. And schools wouldn't be so far behind in test scores from losing in school instruction. Remote jobs and working from home wouldn't have been as widely available as it is now. I will be in the office doing a job I could do from anywhere since the late 90s. Mental health. And for people who have long COVID, physical health as well. Mom would be alive. I would still be deep in addiction. I'd be a bad person. Introverts wouldn't have gotten blissed at having an excuse to stay home. Might actually be able to order a new car and get it in a reasonable time. I would still be using the phrase avoid it like the plague on ironically. 80% of the global population would never know what and where is Wuhan. There is a lot of people we wouldn't know are batshit insane. Inflation. Trump honestly may have won that second election. Plenty of families would still have grandpa around. I'd probably be married or engaged, but at a much worse job. TikTok would be less popular as not many will know about it. Masks would still be for Japanese subways and crazy people. People would still have a little bit of work ethic in them. My financial situation would be better. I lost everything. Trump would probably still be president. In all honesty, all virtual meeting companies would probably not exist. Just about 7 million more people would be alive today. I'd probably still be working at a job I fucking hated. I wanna say the tap feature with credit debit cards.